Hey guys, it's Goblin Green here to bring you my thoughts on Season 1, Episode 7 of The Flash. Now this episode, holy shit. A lot of shit happened in this episode. Really an action-packed fucking episode. Enjoyed every second of it. Couldn't fucking take my eyes off the screen. I love it when there's more than one villain in one episode. It was so fucking amazing. This episode was really kind of dealing with, the idea of the Flash, losing his powers. And again, another Villain of the Week episode. Again, I say this a million fucking times. But hey, this is like the first half of Season 1 is basically, here's a villain, fight him. Okay, next episode, here's a villain, fight him. There, right? But this episode was very well executed. I enjoyed that they used more than one villain, which really I like. They explained this new villain who was kind of similar to Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man in a lot of ways. Amazing Spider-Man 2. He was his accent was pretty shocking to say the least. But needless to say, I kind of enjoyed it. He didn't really. I enjoyed that this character the villain character. I can't remember his name. I think they called him Blackout, right? I enjoyed that he had some trauma in his past. He got his powers and then he fell off, and his friends were trying to resuscitate him. And when they touched him, they all just, died. They all got electrocuted to death. So, I like that this is a villain that's kind of dealing with the demons that happened in the past. And I like how this villain doesn't target the Flash specifically. He wants to talk more to Harrison Wells, because it's the Harrison Wells' fault. Particle accelerator goes off. He got struck with lightning. His friends died because of it. So he kind of blames Harrison for his kind of misfortune. That was kind of cool. So that was kind of the main plot, was him trying to find Harrison and trying to
figure out what's going on.
And basically his whole power is that he can take electricity from things, right? So when he uses it on the Flash, he takes the speed force away from Flash because it is electricity. And, it was kind of cool to see kind of Flash without his powers. I find it interesting when they take the powers away from the heroes. It shows how awesome the heroes can be without their powers. And this was an episode showing, how Barry can be kind of a cool guy without his powers and stuff like that. It was kind of neat. The only problem we run into is that I know that they do it again, at least a couple more times. Not I think it's Season 2 they do it again, and I feel like you should only kind of do that once or twice. It's just once, because it's kind of just retreading old ground, and it feels like it's kind of a pointless kind of thing. But this was kind of cool, him losing his powers because of a villain, and the villain sucks out his powers, so the villain wants to use the villain has a lot of motivation here to find the Flash and to find Harrison Wells. So it didn't feel very forced that he was I gotta find these people. I got power from the Flash, but it's also Harrison Wells' fault that I'm this way. And that was very interesting, kind of an interesting story arc. Now, another cool part was they brought in a villain. They brought in another villain, another new one. It hasn't been done before. Clock King. They brought in Clock King, and I thought that was kind of cool that they would do a villain kind of I know they use a lot of the villains are D-list villains, but Clock King is a very cool idea. And I like that he has everything timed in increments, and he knows how everything works, and he knows, that was kind of his power, is that he can predict through time how long it takes for police to come in, how long it takes for a bullet to travel, how long he has, he does all these complex calculations involving time. And that's a very cool way to make a character. He's fought Batman on a bunch of occasions, and he's fought a bunch of people, because his kind of how he knows how things work is usually better than a lot of the superheroes, because he kind of knows how to time things better. Thus, you know, Clock King, and that was kind of cool. He takes the whole police, he takes the whole Central City Police Department hostage, and basically you got two things going on at once, right? You got Blackout trying to find Harrison Wells, right? And then you got this guy you got this guy who's holding up the police department, and then you got Flash, who has no powers for the majority of this episode. So it was kind of an interesting thing to kind of see, like, can these people deal with these situations without the Flash? Are they heroic enough on their own to deal with the situations without necessarily relying on the Flash? And I saw that more in the police thing than I did in the Star Labs thing, because you do need Flash to fight a metahuman. I mean, it's a given, because he has powers. You can't do it. And then there's like Harrison Wells being a little tricky little fuck, and he brings Girder into the equation to see if he can fight the electric guy, because, you know, Girder from the last episode, you know, strong guy bully. It was kind of cool that they referenced stuff from previous episodes, and it added more connectivity between episodes. So it was very neat. It was very interesting. This episode was very action packed. There was a lot happening, and it was kind of cool with Clock King how Iris was actually the one to kind of fix the situation, and it kind of made Iris seem a little bit more badass. It kind of made me like Iris a little more. Like, out the gate in, like, the 7th episode, you kind of, like, for the majority of the 7th episode, for the majority of, like, the season up to the 7th episode, you're like, it's Iris, she's a girl, she gets captured, needs Flash to save her. And in this one, she saves herself without the Flash. And that was kind of cool. I like that they did that. It makes her less reliant on people, and it makes her a stronger character. But I know that, you know, throw that out the fucking window.
It's, like, too bulky. Where the heck are you gonna put this thing?
Like, so, I don't know. I do like how they were trying to make Iris a little bit more independent, a little bit more strong, and not so much relying on people. And yeah, all in all, this episode was pretty phenomenal. I love multiple villains. I love that each part of the story was, you know, had a point. There was always a lead-in. There was always a thing that made each story important. It wasn't like filler stories where it's like we're at a fucking coffee shop and a quiz shit, like in the fucking like goddamn fucking Felicity episode that was crap. Pure crap. Except for Captain Cold. But, you know, needless to say, this episode, pretty good. I really liked it. I enjoyed it kind of the same as I enjoyed the 3rd episode, except the difference is the 3rd episode was more emotional, and this one's kind of more action-packed, and there's more characters, and there's more action scenes, and there's more fighting, more maniacal schemes, and you kind of get to see more of, you know, Harrison Wells and him being basically like selfish and kind of like evil, mirroring Eobard Thawne's kind of thought processes. And I really thought that was interesting how they did it, and you know, this episode, there's not really much wrong with it. I mean, I liked every part of this episode. It just got, like, incrementally better and better. You're like, the first, oh, he lost his powers, okay, and then the Clock King comes in, and then you're like, oh my god, they're doing Clock King, and then you find there's, like, 2 parallel stories going at once, and basically the whole point of this episode was to show you that there are characters that can be strong without the Flash, and there are situations that the Flash cannot help people. And this is what I kind of think is missing is kind of goes over people's heads and is missing in a lot of stuff, is that, you know, a lot of people see a superhero as someone who can, like, solve everything. But seeing a superhero that way kind of ruins it, because the whole point of a character is that they can be flawed and they can make mistakes. And if you have a perfect superhero, like, you know, Superman, right, it makes the character less interesting when they're less flawed and stuff. That's why, you know, it was Man of Steel was pretty well done, and you know, Batman vs Superman was pretty well done on terms of Superman, because they made him more of a person and less of an alien, and he more mirrored kind of the, you know, personality and seemed more human, which I really enjoyed. And I think this episode was just kind of a you know, just to tell people, yeah, you know, sometimes there won't be a hero. And I think that's very important, and that's very cool that they actually did an episode like this. Gotta say, this episode, pretty amazing. I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10. It was lacking a bit in the emotional stuff, that's why 9.5. But if they had a bit more kind of as emotional as episode 3, it would have gone to 10. But this episode was more action-packed and more kind of character development kind of deals. It was interesting. It was fun. It was pretty good. It was great. So I recommend you go watch this episode. It was pretty good. So that's it, guys. I'll be back with episode 8, Arrow versus Flash. See you guys next time. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you thought of the episode. Did you like it? Did you hate it? How do you think of the interpretations of the characters? What do you think needed to be added? What do you think needed to be subtracted, if anything? Comment below and, tell me what you think. Thanks for watching. See ya.